Hi, I'm Mishti Max, and I'm here to share the spiffy makeup I wore to the Postmodern Jukebox concert. I jazzed it up with a glamorous gold glitter eye with a red lip, and a fascinator I made with some feathers and a gold flower to match the old school style of the music. To begin the shindig, I primed my eyes with Too Faced Shadow Insurance, because that usually gets the party started. I smoothed the crease through with the Inglot No. 101R Middle Shadow on the Sigma E40 Tapered Blending Brush, and continued across to the lightest peach shadow in the Inglot Trio, No. 111R, on the Sigma E25 for a touch on the brow bone. But to really get the joint boppin', I pulled out the old school original Naked palette and took a poke at the shadow naked, then slid it all the way through the socket to the corner of the eye, and I took it up to the front of the brow as well. I did the same with that tapered blending brush and the shadow buck, which is really just a warmer, deeper version of Naked. I built up the color and blended it down with the softer blending brush so it didn't get too high, and kept that old school shape high under the brow and sloping down towards the outer corner. And this sets the backdrop for the Sugar Pill Shadow Castle on the Hill, an even darker yet cooler brown shade. And I ran that through the deep socket from outer corner to inner crease with a flatter eyeshadow brush to bring a nice amount of depth to the eye in a curved shape. I strengthened that color slowly to a fairly dark shade and made sure there was some of the warmer Buck and Naked shades just above the darker cool brown, all the way up into that under the front of the eyebrow area. Keeping all that in its place, I came along with more Inglot Lightest Peach on the Sigma E25 to finish off the upper crease. Then it's up to the Makeup Forever Flash Palette to get the lid all glammed up with some gold cream. I dabbed that on with a finger, and I blended the gold up into the socket, but kept the layer thin on the mobile lid to avoid that horrible effect of creasing. Furthermore, to set that cream, I have the Inglot Gold Pearl Shadow in number 430, and I'm pressing that onto the lid with a short smudge brush. This is a really lovely golden shade, and although it's already nice and shimmery, I played around adding a bit of this lighter gold from Inglot in the center of the lid, and even added some Half-Baked from the Naked palette, but those steps are kinda useless in the end. I just made sure to keep the top of that soft with the blending brushes and such, and then merged some of the deeper gold around the edges with just a fingertip to keep it shining strong. Now I have a touch of Too Faced glitter glue and some of Bananarama glitter from Eye Candy, and I'm dabbing on the adhesive starting on the center of the lid and then pressing on the glitter with the finger, then moving on to the smudge brush to get a nice solid coating of the golden gleaming sparkles. I brushed off any stray glitter in the crease and then wiped off some fallout off my face with a makeup wipe. I made sure to reprime my lower lids and inner corners after cleaning them off to prepare for some NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the dreaded cottage cheese, and that I smoothed onto the tear ducts as a base for the eyeshadow from Makeup Geek called Magic Act, which I applied with the aptly named Sigma E46 Shader Inner Corner brush for a brighter gold shine right in there. I brushed it up to the inner crease area and merged it through to the lid with some more of the number 430 Inglot Gold. To hit up that lower lid properly now, I have the Urban Decay 24/7 pencil in El Dorado, and I'm dragging that along the whole lower lash line, and following that up into the waterline too. Then I decided to add some definition with the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner in Brouhaha, tickling that on the outer third of my lower lash line and rubbing the lower lid with a cotton bud to blend, before hitting up the Inglot Gold Shadow again on that smudge brush to set the center area of the lower lid. I buffed that towards the inner corner with Makeup Geek Magic Act and fuzzed out the outer edges to prepare for some more Sugar Pill Castle on the Hill, and using the tip of that smudge brush, I darkened up my outer lash line. Then I joined that up to the top lid, also adding more product up there to deepen up the outer corner of the mobile lid. I merged that outer corner into the gold glitter using some more of the lighter naked shade and blurred the lower lid out a little. I brightened and blended the center of the gold area and used the tapered blending brush to keep everything soft under there. I decided to add some definition to the upper lash line to thicken up those lashes, so Brouhaha came out to play again and scooted across the outer lash line, dragging a thinning line towards the inner edge. I set that cream pencil with more of the dark brown sugar pill shadow, pressing it into the lash line and softening the top of the eyeliner while joining it to the crease as well as the lower lid for continuity. I darkened up the brown areas, but kept them blended of course, before attending to my lashes with a pinch of a torture device for a curl, and some CoverGirl Clump Crusher mascara to shellac and darken the lashes until they are fluttery and full. This would have been a good opportunity to apply false lashes, but I didn't want to gaze up at the lovely singers from the front row with extra crap in front of my eyes. But you can see some songs and highlights of the gig at the end of this video. And then I took to my bottom lashes with plenty of MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash Mascara as well. I cleaned off the skin from any stray particles and moved on to moisturizing with MAC Strobe Cream in Peach Light all over for a nice healthy gleam under the skin. I jumped up to the eyebrows with a bit of the Revlon eyebrow pencil in blonde for the sparse areas, and then I applied the Urban Decay brow powder across the brow in a low curving shape, extending the tail outwards, and I finished off the brows with some NYX Tinted Brow Mascara in blonde for that hairy look. Now back to the face and a bit of priming with the Hourglass Fancy Pants Mineral Veil Primer, smeared in with the less fancy pants finger method. I applied some Revlon Photo Ready Eye Primer and Brightener to the under eye area where my circles are darkest, and pressed it in with the yet undampened sponge. For my skin, I went for a lightened mix of Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum Foundation in 51 Light Vanilla, and then dotted between that, I used the Body Shop Shade Adjusting Drops in Lightening, mixed straight on the face, and pounced in with a dampened beauty blender to give an old school pale complexion. Since I ran out of my concealer, I added a bit more of the eye brightener and then applied some foundation and lightening drops over that area under the eyes, and also across the nose, to blend it into the rest of the skin. I swirled some Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Ethereal Light over the center of my face, just as a nice veil but not getting too powdery. The Revlon eyebrow liner in blonde came back to jazz up my beauty spot that the foundation covered up. Then onto the cheeks with some MAC Whisper of Guilt Mineralized Skin Finish, just to the tops of the cheekbones. And then to lighten it up, I pulled out the NARS highlighter in Albatross and sloshed on some more of that, even up towards the temples. I followed that up with another shimmery NARS product. This one is the Blush in Orgasm, and I poured that on thick from the apples of the cheeks, curved up around to the temples. I blended the eyeshadow softly into the face makeup with the tapered blending brush, and I buffed out the cheeks too before melting those powders into the skin with some MAC Fix Plus spray, dried off delicately and quickly with a fan, of course. I added a little bit of the residual highlight off the brush to the nose and Cupid's bow, and then set my face thoroughly with the Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray, which I also fanned dry. Oh my. Now it's lip time, and I wiped on the lip balm after it soaked in to prime my lips with the MAC Prep and Prime Lip Base. And I added some extra foundation and powder to the corners of my lips so I can reshape them with this Melt Cosmetics lip pencil in Ambrosia. I left my lower lip full at the bottom and tightened it up towards the edges, then lined the Cupid's bow with an angular pointed shape and scooted in the corners on the top too. Then I filled in the whole shape as a lipstick base. I also cleaned up any edges from overflow. That way I can get more of an old school kind of look. For a final touch, I reached for the Chanel lipstick in Rouge Allure Velvet in number 38, which is called La Fascinate. And I coated my lips in the always in fashion red shade, yet removed the terribly unchic inner rim that might threaten the whiteness of my teeth. I spiffied up my hair and stuck in this fascinator I made from some feathers, flowers and a bit of veil from feathers.com.au for a unique hairpiece to add to the old world glamour of the look. And there we have a little mix of old school glamour and new fashion shenanigans, just like the essence of Postmodern Jukebox. I matched this look with a feather boa and a leather jacket to give even more to the juxtaposition of the music. This look is great for any festive time or party. And speaking of, the Shindig gig was delightful, which you can enjoy after this tutorial in bootleg form. And after the show, I was even given the set list by the band leader. I assume because I had the most obnoxious and obvious feather dealie in my hair, while I bopped to the smooth jazz set to the newfangled songs all night. I have a more true to tradition 20s style makeup look in cranberry tones, which you can find in all the usual linkable places. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this fabulous glam tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Also check out my band and podcast on iTunes. And if you want to send me a letter or something, I have my PO box in the description box.